Oh, the web page looks absolutely awful with this red background and the yellow text. Let's fix that. If you switch over to your custom.css, the background color of red and the color of yellow, I put in the video where I was showing you some alternative workflows that you could use inside of Joomla to get your CSS into the system. And I put this in just to show you that, yes, you can put in styles and they're saved. It's horrible. So let's just take those out really quick. We certainly don't want those. In fact, we don't need this body tag style at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that out altogether. Where I'd like to start styling, though, is at the head of my document. So if I just do a file save here and I go back to my web page and I refresh, phew, now I can look at it again. What I want to concentrate on first is just styling the head of this document. So as we know from the completed design for this website, what we want to have is a big green header, and I'm going to want to align those flags and that search box over to the right side of the screen. So the first step in this is to know what HTML you have to work with. And the easiest way to do that is actually not to take a look at index.php. Index.php is only going to show us the following information. If I look at index.php and I scroll on down to the header portion of my web page, I see that I have my image. And then I see that I have a line here that just calls for the modules. I don't know what HTML I have to work with and to style when I take a look at this. So the best way to do this is to view the page source. And right here from my web developer toolbar, I can just go to view source. And this will show me the HTML that makes up my web page. So I can scroll on down here to my header, and there's my image, just like I had before. And then I have my div with a class of span 8. In my index.php, this just calls for a JDoc include type of modules. Now this is actually written out as HTML. So I see that I have a div with a class of module table. I have a div with a class of mod languages. And then I have my flags. And then after that, I have another div with a class of module table, and a div with a class of search, and the stuff associated with the search. And then my header ends down here. So this is actually the HTML that I have to work with to style. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with these two classes, the class here of search and the class up here of mod-languages, and assign some styles to those. And I'll also put a background color on the header overall here, which I can just use my header tag for doing that. It's the only one that's on the page. So back here in Dreamweaver, I'm going to switch to my custom.css tab. And I'm going to put a little comment here at the top, header styling. After that, I'm going to put in my header as my declaration. I'm just using the HTML tag. There's no need to make it any more specific than that. Background-color will be AFC82E. And that's all I need for my header. It's just going to be a big green area. If I say file save and I go to Firefox and I refresh this page, there we go. I now have a big green header. That's exactly what I wanted. Now I need to take care of my styling here for the flags. So I'm going to add now my style of .mod-languages. And that will align it to the right. And I'm going to put in some padding. 4Ms, 1M, 0, 0. Remember when you see CSS written out this way with 4 numbers, one right after the other, the way that you should remember that is it's TRBL. Remember TRBL and stay out of trouble. So what that means is 4 M's on the top, 1 M on the right, and 0 on the bottom and the left. Why am I working with M's here? I could be working with M's or percents. Either one is okay. This is because I'm working with responsive design. Remember that I want to work with a unit of measure that's flexible and will adapt to my web page. And so M's or percents are a good way of doing that. If you use pixels and you're hard coding in those values, those pixels unfortunately may not necessarily adapt to some of your other layouts on the website or adapt as easily. That is why I'm working with M's. And I'm going to close that off with a curly bracket. And then finally, my search box. And so I'm going to call this .search, curly bracket. And I am also going to give this a margin of 2Ms, 1M, 0, 0. So 2 on the top. So that will be 2 M's between the flags and the search box. 1 M over on the right. That way the edges on the right will line up nicely with the flags. And then 0, 0. And I'm going to tell it to float right. Okay. So now that I have those styles in place, I can say File, Save. And when I come back to the front end of my website and I refresh, here's my flags over here now pushed to the side of the screen, and my search box is located right under it. All of that has lined up very, very nicely here inside of my web page. So we've got a good start on improving the look of our website.